I actually hadn't planned on doing this, but it seems like a no-brainer now that I think about it. I've given you the 5 parts I hate in movies I love, so let's even that out with the top 5 parts I love in movies I hate. Number 5. This part of Minority Report that I love isn't even a scene. It's an entire performance. That movie deducted so many points from my overall IQ level, it's just insane. But Samantha Morton's performance really was something special. She impeccably portrays a character who has barely ever moved or seen daylight in her life, and she absolutely convinces you that her character doesn't understand what it means to be in the present. Like taking an aspirin for a sledgehammer to the face, it only helps so much when watching this absolute garbage, but this performance was truly remarkable. Number 5, 3, 4... This one kind of defies the title of this video because, as I said in my review, I didn't really hate the Kill Bill movies exactly. I hated the fact that Lucy Liu's character was treated as anything but boring, bad-acting background, but the movies themselves were just kind of dumb and dull to me. This might have been the only part in the movie that actually made me smile. In movies like this, fight scenes can sometimes be so overly choreographed that they look more like a dance. This particular part of the film seems to be so aware of that it just said, fuck it, and turned it into a dance. It's one of the few moments in the film that actually feels like a Quentin Tarantino film, and not like Tarantino copying someone else. Only downside is that it was a bit too short, but still a part that I enjoy. Number 3.
Simba.
Aside from the more aesthetic elements such as animation and the soundtrack, I liked almost nothing about this movie, but this scene was very well done. Not only is this the first time someone is actually trying to figure out what this little sociopath's problem is, but it actually made me kind of care about these two characters. This is a really nice moment between father and son, and I honestly felt like they were both learning something from one another. If there is one thing this movie could have used much more of, it's scenes like this. Of course, it doesn't matter because the movie's bad and this will all be completely abandoned in virtually the next scene, but on its own, the scene is good. I love how the sun is gradually setting in the background too, not just because it looks beautiful, but because the very look of the scene is changing with the tone of the scene. It starts out hot and harsh, and then becomes cool and nice. Very well done. Number 2. Remember when I actually said something nice about this scene in the film, saying that even in a movie I couldn't stand, James Cameron really pulled this off? Well, fuck me, try to give a guy a compliment, and this is what I get. I thought James Cameron was making it pretty clear that Rose died and went to see Jack, but I guess we're all supposed to interpret whether or not this was the case. Another possibility, according to Cameron, is that she was just dreaming, and based on those two options, we're all just supposed to make up which one is which. Okay, fine, she died and went to see Jack. There, I just did your job for you. I mean, honestly, who is going to interpret this as a dream? What relevance would Rose being asleep have? Making this open to interpretation is stupid and just a waste of time, but since I can just make up what this should have been in the first place, it doesn't really ruin the scene for me. She died, saw Jack, and the scene was absolutely beautiful. And the number 1 part I love in a movie I hate.
I know I've made some very poor decisions recently, but I can give you my complete assurance that my work will be back to normal.
One of the biggest exceptions to any rule I have ever had. Hal as a character, and the questions raised about his existence, without those questions even being asked in words, is on the level of brilliance that everyone seems to think the entire movie was. In fact, if 2001: A Space Odyssey was just like a half-hour film and only contained the parts with Hal, this would probably be one of Matthew's favorite movies. For a character that cannot speak in anything but monotone, Hal conveys more emotions than anyone else in the film. Fear, anger, confusion, sorrow, all from a character with no face, no body, and just the bare essentials of a voice. Hal is an amazing character, and every scene that portrays him is a work of genius unto itself. I only wish that his part in the film hadn't been sandwiched between so much nothing. So there you have it. The top 5 parts I love in movies I hate.